again, everyone, and welcome to the Front Line with Joe and Joe Pasillo. And once more, let us go into the breach. Persecution. I want to talk about that a little bit today because we're being sold a bill of goods. Now, don't get me wrong, okay? In other nations, right, obviously, let's keep it with Christianity for a second. Christians are persecuted. There's no question about it, okay? And I'm not defending, before everybody gets in a tizzy, okay? I'm not defending any of those regimes, okay, that persecute Christians at all. And let's remember, I was reading, obviously, for the Front Line with Joe and Joe. I do a lot of reading. I came across an article. This is from a while ago in the Christian Post, defining. Well, first of all, let's talk about persecution, because the definition includes hostility, ill treatment, especially because of race or political or religious beliefs. That's what we're talking about. It also goes right up to being fed to the lions. What happened to the Catholics in Mexico during the Cristero War, what happened to Christians under the Soviet Union. So persecution runs the gambit, but let's keep it with America for a second. Hostility and ill treatment, all right? And there's a lot of examples, you have, let's say, for argument's sake, you could get passed over for a promotion. That's persecution, where you can't make more money to put food on the table for your family. If you refuse to put the rainbow flag on your coffee cup, okay, that obviously people have lost their jobs, not only not gotten promoted, but lose their jobs because they don't toe the line, okay? And we need to understand that. We also, how about forcing churches to close? Now, I blame the Catholic Church in America and our bishops for allowing that to happen, where they should have fought tooth and nail and should have said, hell no, we're not closing the churches. We're not doing what you want us to do. We'll do the social distancing, but no, the churches will remain open. But they persecuted the church in that regard because they forced churches to close between 20 and 2020 to 2021 because of fear, because that's what it all comes down to for them, because they need to sell you fear in order to get you to do what it is they want to do. But let's talk about private businesses that are dragged into court because they won't support the LGBT mafia. Okay, you have the IRS cold busted in persecuting and targeting Christian nonprofits. Let's remember, Joe and I have talked about on the show a million times, the Obama administration and him and his Health and Human Services Secretary persecuting the Little Sisters of the Poor and constantly losing in court, by the way, but then going right back after them because that's what the left is good at. They don't stop fighting. I admire them to a certain degree in that way. I remember when I was a kid, when they talked about guys who were tough, like in the neighborhood, and one of the ways you would describe somebody who is tough is, oh, you got to knock that guy out or else he's just going to keep coming. That's the left, okay? They're just keep coming. They were beaten in court, okay? Little Sisters of the Poor beat them in court a number of times, and the left keeps coming back after them. Same with the Second Amendment. Heller was decided, I don't know, over a decade ago, all right? Yet they keep coming back, keep trying to overturn Heller, which they recently got beat in that regard by that ruling involving conceal and carry in New York. So there's a lot of ways that they persecute us. But here's the thing. You tell me that somehow, for argument's sake, other leaders of other countries are persecuting Christians or are oppressive regimes. You want me to support the United States government sending military aid to a country that basically reflects Western values, which is secular values, which is completely hostile to Christianity, particularly the Catholic faith. But you want me to support that war because you're going to convince me that Putin's such a bad guy? Well, you're going to have to demonstrate that for me because I'm not buying it. Now, I'm not saying Putin's a good guy because I know that's exactly what people are going to say. Oh, you're supporting Putin. But where am I better off living? And I ain't moving to Russia. Tell you that right now, libs. I ain't moving to Russia, okay? But I'm pointing out something, and I'm illustrating a point. Can I, if I'm a baker in Russia, can I be dragged into court because I won't support a gay wedding? No. But in America, Jack Phillips is still being persecuted. In Russia, am I going to get dragged into court because I won't take pictures for a lesbian wedding? Baronel Stutzman is still being persecuted. In Russia, if the coach wants to pray a prayer, is he getting kicked off as coach? He's going to be fired as the coach. Coach Joe Kennedy was. He was asked by the players. He didn't force it on them. He was asked by the players if they could join him in prayer in the middle of the field. Okay? And they fired him over it. And eventually he won that. So I ask myself sometimes, you know, the left wants to always portray that America is such a wonderful place, especially since we're stomping on religion. Well, where does that leave me? Does that leave me comfortable living in America or Canada? You know, if you really want to broaden it out a little bit, there's nothing great about Western secular democracies if you're even remotely a religious person. Not even, let's say, if you're a practicing Catholic, if you're a practicing Christian, if you're an Orthodox Jew, okay? There's no place for you in secular democracies. They're making that clear. But if I was living, let's say, for argument's sake, in a different country under a different leader who the media and the oligarchs tell me I need to hate, I say, I'd be much better off under that regime than I am under this regime. Go ask Mark Houck how he's doing. Now, I know he's doing well, thank God. Because in 1 hour, okay, the case against the jury came back in the trial against him, and they dropped the charge. They found him innocent. He was protecting his son while praying in front of an abortion murder chamber, all right? And the violent death escort, that's what they called them, the Planned Parenthood death escorts, okay, was about to attack his son, was verbally attacking him, and he just basically put his arm out, and he shoved him, and he hit the ground. The liberal DA in Philadelphia refused to prosecute. The lawsuit filed against Mark Houck was thrown out of court. But Merrick Garland and his Justice Department can send 24 agents to Mark Houck's house, and they can arrest him in front of his wife and screaming children. They could do that, right? Christianity is tolerated in America, but you want me to go to war against Putin? Is that a joke? Joe Biden props himself up there as a Catholic. Meantime, he never heard of an unborn baby he didn't want to kill. And that's the truth. You can't object to any of this stuff. None of it. You'll accept it. Listen, we're not special, Christians out there. We're not special, okay? Just think about the Christians in the Colosseum, Perpetua, Felicity, okay, and all of them who were persecuted by Rome. So why can't you just pinch a little incense to the emperor? You could still believe what you want. You don't have, you could keep your fingers crossed behind your back. Just pinch a little incense to the emperor, just so we show everybody that we're unified under our deity, which is the emperor. You know what that reminds me of in modern times? What's the actor's name? He's a homosexual. Andrew, I think it's Andrew Garfield. He's gay. He got up in an award show and he says, "Why can't you just bake a cake? Why can't you just bake a cake?" No, it's not that simple, Andrew. It's not that simple. You don't want me to bake a cake. You want me to make a statement. You want me to pinch incense to your false gods. And I'm not doing it. And again, I asked a question to all you out there joining me at the front line, Joe Pasillo, all right, is where am I better off living? The European Union, okay, represented militarily by NATO, okay, we know what their values are all about. We know about what Zelensky values in the Ukraine. But again, you want me to support a war there against somebody who didn't do anything to me. I'm going to pull the Vietnam card. I'm going to pull the card that the Vietnam protesters pulled was the yellow man didn't do anything to me. Well, the Russian didn't do anything to me. Putin's not doing anything to me. And the bottom line is, I don't want to go to war with Russia. I don't want to go to war and watch those people die. I don't want to go to war. I don't want them to have a war. But NATO provoked this while they tried to sell us the lie that this was an unprovoked attack. NATO provoked this. And everybody knows it. Any sober person knows that NATO for years and years now has provoked this. And they kept pushing Russia and pushing Russia. Well, what would you like for them to do? What would America do? So where are you, religious person who believes in the natural law, the moral law, has an idea of Logos, even if it's not the Christian view of the Logos incarnate in Jesus Christ, but you could grasp and live according to Logos, reason, rationality, order, okay? Where are you better off? And I'm telling you this, I don't want to live in Russia. I'm an American. I'm born in Newark, New Jersey. But I'm fighting for America because I'm tired of being persecuted. I'm tired of YouTube listening to this video, and I bet dollars to donuts to take it down. At least I hope they don't. Maybe they're coming around because they're getting competition from Twitter. All right? Because Twitter is not taking it down, and this will be on Twitter. Follow us at With Joe and Joe, at With Joe and Joe on Twitter. Also on YouTube for now, The Frontline TV on YouTube. But that's a question I would ask, is that the left is not just, whenever they lose a religious battle, Jack Phillips, Barronelle Stutzman, these are religious battles. These are battles within the spiritual battle, the culture war. When they lose, they just keep coming. They're the Energizer bunnies, okay? They just keep coming. They will never, ever stop. You know what they're like? They're like the character played by Michael Biehn in The Terminator, when he says this thing has no feelings, has no remorse. It's just going to keep on coming until you're dead. Now, he was talking about the Terminator, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger, but I think, appropriately describes what's going on right now with the left. They will keep on coming because they have no feelings, no remorse, no compassion. They will grind all of us into dust if we don't fight against them. And that's the truth.